Hi, my friend Calvin here. Today I'd like to talk about the differences between MD and PhD and also about a recent event. Before we start this video, which took 15 hours of my time, I would like to ask you to click the like button below and subscribe to my channel. This is the only thing I would like to ask you to do in return for watching this video. Thank you. You probably heard about Joseph Epstein suggesting on Wall Street Journal that the First Lady, Dr. Joe Biden, drop her doctor title. Joe Biden should think about dropping the honorific, which feels fraudulent, even comic. First, I'm surprised that Wall Street Journal published such a hatred article. Second is his name is Joseph Epstein, and the last time I heard someone with family name Epstein is this guy who committed various crime and all other stuff and died in a cell. I don't know if there's any connection between them, personal, political, or biological. First of all, let's see if the First Lady's doctor title is honorific or not. This is what Wikipedia says. An honorary degree, aka an honorific, is academic degree for which a university or other degree awarding institution has waived all the usual requirements such as matriculation, which means enrollment, attendance, course credits, a dissertation, and passing of comprehensive examination. The degree is often conferred as a way of honoring a distinguished visitor's contribution to a specific field or to society in general. I think the good example of someone who received honorary degree is Bill Gates, who has received honorary doctorates from 7 universities, including Harvard University and Cambridge University. He did not enroll in any of their PhD programs or other doctoral programs. These degrees were given to him because he had made distinguished contributions to a specific field or society in general, mostly business, computer science, and philanthropy. But the First Lady's case is different. She went through normal doctoral program process. She enrolled into the program, took classes, did her research, and defended that research. I think those who are saying the First Lady is not a doctor or not a real doctor is saying that because they're taking that view personally and or politically. If you think it objectively, it's so clear. She went back to the University of Delaware probably around 2000 or after that, took night classes, and did her research under Dr. Barbara Curry, another doctor of education, and wrote her dissertation called Student Retention at the Community College, Meeting Student Needs, and got her doctorate at age 55. What an inspiring story, isn't it? Some people say that her dissertation was only 20,000 words and shorter than a typical master's thesis. Therefore, she can't call herself a doctor. Whether or not to give someone a doctor or master's degree is very less dependent on the length of his or her work. It's very much dependent on the impact of his or her work and judged by a group of experts in the field. For example, if someone writes a dissertation with 2 million words, but not as impactful as a normal doctoral dissertation, then he or she cannot get the degree. You see, it's more about impact. That's about word count. He also addressed the First Lady, who is 69 now, by calling her kiddo. He himself is just 15 years older than her. Let me ask this, would he still call her kiddo if both of them get older and undistinguishably old from each other? Let's say when she is at age 100 and he is at age 115. Would he still call her kiddo in front of her great-grandchildren? You probably would feel really weird when a white-haired old man called another white-haired old lady kiddo, who does not look younger than him. You might feel this man got dementia or something. I feel that's so disrespectful, not only to the soon-to-be the First Lady when the article was published, but also as a person. He went on and said that a wise man once said that no one should call himself a doctor unless he has delivered a child. I found this is so amusing. Wise men say a lot of things, and a lot of them are not so wise. If that wise man really used he or him when he talked about giving birth, I think that wise man is not so wise. First, he should know that only a biologically woman can deliver a child, not biologically a man. Second, he should have also used gender equal terms like he or she, him or her together. Shouldn't just be he or him. Third, if Mr. Epstein have cited an unnamed not so wise man's word, then he might be so too. He should have known that the First Lady actually gave a birth to a child and her name is Ashley Biden. He should have at least Googled enough before he wrote that. You see, even with his not so wise deliver a child view, the First Lady still can call herself doctor. I don't know if he said all these things because the First Lady is a woman, or because he's jealous, or because of politically different view, or because something else that I never thought of, really weird things, but he did. And Dr. Biden replied by saying that she was surprised by his tone. He called her kiddo. That's a really nice reply compared to those who would say, fake news. So I think she should not only just keep doctor as her title, but also can use it wherever she wants. She should not drop her degree or title just because one or a few writers feel it's fraudulent. Maybe these writers should expand their view a bit more and be open to the idea that a woman can get a doctor degree too. She worked hard for her degree, just like I had and other PhDs had. It's called Doctor of Education, EDD. It's another kind of doctor which you probably didn't hear about, but it is a doctor degree. According to the internet, the writer was condemned by not only other public figures, but also the university where he worked. Northwestern University and its English department, where he worked as a visiting adjunct lecturer from 1974 to 2000, condemned him, saying that Northwestern University is firmly committed to equity, diversity, and inclusion, and strongly disagrees with Mr. Epstein's misogynistic views, and removed Epstein's page from its website, where he had been listed as an emeritus lecturer of English. As you can tell, I personally got a little bit upset by this article where the writer tries to discredit a decent degree. He also said that the PhD may once held prestige, but that has been diminished by the erosion of seriousness and relaxation of standards in university education generally, at any rate outside the sciences. It's true that we have more doctors than 100 years ago, but it's also true that we have more bachelors than 100 years ago. I think it's the progress of the society in terms of education. I mean, the popularity of a degree has made it sound like less prestigious, but I don't think the requirements to achieve one has changed. It just means that less people are working in farm and more people are getting education. In 1870s, about 50% of Americans were farmers. Now, that number dropped to less than 2%. On the other hand, this drop in numbers and popularity does not make farmers more prestigious than before. I don't know why he focused so much on prestige of the degree. Anyway, it's probably true that people like Mr. Epstein thought that MD and PhD are the only doctors. But that's not true. There are a bunch of other doctors. For example, JD, Juris Doctor, aka Doctor of Jurisprudence, is another doctor. It's actually one of many kinds of doctors in law, which also includes like Doctor of Juridical Science, JSD, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, and Legum Doctor, LLD. And there are a whole bunch of other doctors too, like Doctor of Osteopathy, Doctor of Business Administration, Doctor of Arts, Doctor of Design, Doctor of Musical Arts, Doctor of Acupuncture, etc. I don't know how many kinds of doctors exist in the world, but at least in US, there are two big categories of doctors. One is research degree, like PhD, like me, and Doctor of Education. The other one is professional degrees, like Doctor of Medicine and Doctor of Dental Medicine. Here's an incomplete list for both categories. Now let's talk about the differences between MD and PhD, because these are the two kinds of doctors that I think I know better than general population. I myself got a PhD in neuroscience and thought a lot about going to medical school to get a MD, but didn't for various reasons. MD, Doctor of Medicine, is a degree, at least in North America, given to those who go to medical school after undergraduate and pass all the requirements of the program. Where PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, is very similar in that sense. It's given to those who enrolled into PhD program and meet the program requirements. A difference between MD and PhD program is that MD is about learning medical and biological knowledge, whereas PhD is not only just gaining the knowledge of a specific field, but also about doing research and making scientific discoveries. In MD program, you learn all nitty-gritty details about human body, like where all arteries go, and how different bones work together, how muscle contraction happens, and how a medicine affects various parts of a body and other details. In a PhD program, normally in the first 2 years, one has to take a few required or selected courses to increase his or her understanding of the research subject. At the same time, he or she does research in the lab or wherever it should happen. It perhaps is in Antarctica if you're studying climate change, probably in a tomb if you're studying history, etc. In my case, I had to take Neuroscience 500 and 501 while I was doing my research in a typical science research lab. One of them was how Huntington protein protects neurons from neuronal excitotoxicity. A lot of people think that a doctor must be a genius like Einstein or Newton or all other famous scientists who probably have received Nobel Prize. I tell you, that's not always true. It's true that there are a lot of genius scientists who are PhDs. But most people who have a PhD degree are smart in general and hardworking, not genius level smart. Look at me. I would say getting a PhD probably took me more effort than what it will take to deliver 2 children. While MD students who are on their way to getting their degree mostly need to take classes, whether it's in a classroom or on an operation table. PhD students have to take classes and pass them, do a comprehensive exam where his or her knowledge of the subject is tested by 3 to 5 professors, do research in the lab or other places, do annual progress meetings and write their papers, publish them, and write his or her dissertation and defend it in front of 4 to 5 professors who are expert in the field. MD normally take generally 4 years, some 3 years. PhD normally takes 4 to 6 years in North America. That's because it doesn't require a master's degree to enroll into the program. In UK and other European countries, PhD is a bit shorter, probably 3 to 4 years, but they require a master's degree before you enroll into the program. All right, that's it for today. I'll talk more in the future, so please subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to click the like button below. That's the only thing I would ask you in return for watching this video. Thank you. This video took me 15 hours. Thank you and see you next time.